Hey guys, what's up? And I'm sorry if the camera view, if the image quality doesn't look that good. I'm struggling with my camera and I can't seem to get a decent picture quality, so it's always temperamental. One day it works, one day it doesn't. Anyway, no, I haven't done these in a couple of days. I've been busy. My job is finally going good. There's a few of you, very few of you who know that, financial situation doesn't look that great, but now it is, and I'm getting more hours, so doesn't mean I'm not going to be making new videos anymore. It's just that it might be not as frequent, but I'm still going to keep pouring them out. And I got a whole lot of topics that I wanted to discuss, particularly since, past this election, some of the bullshit that people are saying about Obama, both good and bad. Stuff that I've been hearing about socialism, government, anarchy, all that type of stuff. I got a whole lot of things I want to address. But the first thing I want to get out the way is Proposition 8, which I'm sure many of you guys have already heard of. Other channels already talked about it. Now I'm going to talk about it. So I kind of wish I did this earlier, just I didn't have the time before. But now I'm going to, put my opinion on there. If you've seen my video in the past on what I think about gay marriage, you should already have a clue as to what I think about this proposition being passed in California. Fucking sucks. But I'm not going to be talking necessarily about, Proposition 8 itself or my views. If you want to get more of an idea of what I would think, just go back and watch that video if you haven't seen it. I'm actually going to focus on a small aspect. I don't know if it's a small aspect, but an aspect about this proposition passing in California. See, it's come to my attention that of all the people who voted for this, 70% of black people in that state voted for it. 70%. If somebody, if that statistic is wrong, let me know, but that's what I saw, read, and heard. Now, if you happen to be one of those 70% of black people in California and you're seeing this right now, this is what I happen to think about that and you. You should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. And I know I'm going to be getting a lot of hate mail for it, and I don't fucking care. Because that's what I believe. Actually, that's what I believe. That's what I know. You should be fucking ashamed of yourselves for voting for that. I mean, of all people, black people voting for something like this? Have you people have no sense of your own fucking history? Do you remember what your struggle is about? The shit that you guys complain about even to this day? Do I need to give you a reminder? Your ancestors were brought here in chains, okay? As slaves. You were stripped of your culture, stripped of your rank, stripped of your family, and forced to work in servitude. And you were considered subhuman. So much so that they put in the Constitution in the beginning that you were just 3/5 of a person, okay? That's what you were. Your ancestors were. And then, when you guys were finally so-called freed, you then went through another set of years. Because you went through 400 years of this shit. You get out of that, and then you go through several more where you're still considered subhuman, even if you were living in the North. Okay, in the South, you were definitely considered subhuman. You had the Jim Crow laws that kept niggers in their place. Okay? If you were North, you still were considered not an intellectual, something of a social pariah, yet you were very lucky to get by in the North. Okay? It wasn't until the 60s that you were beginning to get some type of due, and even then it still took a lot of work. To this day, it's the racism. How many white people were voting for McCain simply because they didn't want a black guy in office? And you know all that shit. You know what bigotry is like. You know how much bullshit there is in that. And yet you vote for something that strips the rights of another group of citizens off of bigotry. You don't consider that hypocritical at all. I don't want to hear any bullshit about, oh, that's unnatural, and God said it. Fuck you, okay? They were saying the same shit about you and your ancestors years ago. And it wasn't even all that long ago. Not even 100 years ago they were saying that shit about you. In fact, there are places right now that are still saying the same shit about you. There are people out there who still consider you to be less than other races, mentally and physically. There are people out there right now who still consider, if you haven't, back then, they were talking about, let's focus on the marriage aspect at least, so maybe your brains can click, so you can understand why I'm so pissed off at you. There were people who are going against you having rights or being full citizens because what they were afraid of was you intermixing with white people. Their biggest fear was that you were going to steal their women from them or steal their men from them. But they were hiding it all about shit that you're not human, you were naturally amoral, that you were nothing but sexual deviants. That black people, if they mix with whites, their children would be a mongrel race, that their brains would be deviant or not into up to the level of an intellectual. All this shit they were saying about you. Okay? It's the same shit that you assholes are now saying about gay people. And this unnatural shit, fuck you again. Anything that happens in this planet is natural. If it was unnatural, it wouldn't fucking work. Okay? Everything in this globe was provided by nature. Even the defects, the fleas, the mutations in cells, cancer, all that shit happens in nature. You may not like it, but it's natural. Nothing here happens unless nature provides it or allows it. Okay? That unnatural shit. Fuck you. You obviously don't even have logical thinking for you to say something like that. And if you're going to be falling back on the crutch that is religion, don't get me started. God says that homosexuals... First of all, you're not even thinking about the fact that if God created everything, He created them that way too. And it is in science that people are born that way. It's not a fucking choice. Second, let's see, you're willing to support that law, but yet I still happen to notice pork chops on your plate. God said you weren't supposed to eat that, but here you go. Don't seem to have a fucking problem. God said that it's okay for you to sell your daughters into slavery or kill off your kids if they happen to talk back to you, but you don't seem to mind breaking that. No, that's not a problem. Your great, Savior Jesus told you fools that actually when you pray to God, you're supposed to lock yourself in your room, not do as the heathens do and show yourselves off in church, making a big deal of the fact, look at me, I'm worshiping the Lord, look at the clothes I'm wearing, look at the fact that I jump up and down in the house. That's supposed to be something that Jesus was against. You're supposed to keep your religion to yourself and keep it in the closet and pray to Him privately. He happens to mention that before He gives the so-called Lord's Prayer. You might want to look that up in the Gospel. You don't mind breaking that rule. But when it comes to stripping people of their rights or denying them basic rights because you happen to be bigoted, you got no problem keeping that law. No problem whatsoever. Make me sick. And of course, it's going to be inevitable that some of you assholes will be going, well, he's just saying that you must be a faggot. You supporting them must be a faggot. Same argument that, white people used to say to other white people if they were trying to support black people with their rights. You fucking nigger lover. You must be a nigger in secret. It's the same shit. You're the same group of people, just with different skin. And I hate bigots of all types. You should be fucking ashamed of yourselves. If you even have a little bit of a conscience in you, you should really look at yourself in the mirror and just ask yourself, what the fuck did you do? You betrayed your cause. Black people have been fighting for basic rights in this country for who knows how long. They're only just beginning to kind of get it now, but they're still fighting against racism and bigotry. But you're going to go around and deny it to another group of people? Off of flimsy excuses? And worse, most of the guys who are voting for that shit are Christians. So that means you're worshiping a religion that was forced upon your ancestors by the very people that wanted you to be slaves. In fact, they were using the Bible to try to prove that you guys were subhuman and children of the devil, which is why you deserve to be slaves. It's the same reasoning that you're using right now, saying that, well, the Bible supports that these guys should be bigoted against. It's the same shit. And if you can't see that, there's no hope for you. And don't you fools seem to realize that, I don't think you guys understand this, but if they're able to do that to homosexuals, they can do it to you. Don't think that there aren't people out there in this country who still hate the fact that you guys have the same rights. If they can do that to them and make it stick, you're next. You're fucking next. I happen to be married to a white woman. And I can tell you in the state I live in there, many people look at me like it ain't no thing, but every now and then I get a few stares. Because that shit still exists. And you're in the same fucking category if you're going to be doing that to other people. That's what I think on the matter. I mean, I really am disgusted with a whole lot of you. Really should know fucking better than that. And I know I'm going to be getting hate mail. I know I'm going to be getting idiotic comments. And all I'm telling you is that all those people who will give me that mail and comments, I'll just block you and then put up another video and put up a list of every single last one of you black motherfuckers that, you know, bigoted against other people, so that other more decent black people can see the type that they're going to have to fight against.